Customer success is you being proactive, you being on the front foot. You need to lead your customer doesn't need to lead you. That's the kind of. And I think that's where a lot of particularly junior people that don't have coaching in a young startup, they get that wrong. 3 months after we launched ImpactPilot, HubSpot announced their customer success workspace. And I thought, we're doomed, right? If you're growing a lot, but you're churning everything out the back door, then you're not really growing.
There, welcome to another episode of saas.unbound. And here with me today is Pieter from ImpactPilot. Welcome to the show.
Hi Anna, thanks for having me.
Sure, absolutely. I guess, we're talking about customer success today, right? But before we get into the whole how you built this and what's working or what's not, let's start with you and, who you are, how you got to do what you are doing.
Yeah. So Pieter, I'm from Belgium, and actually my entire career up till now, I've worked in account management or customer success. So always on the business side, but then post-sale, let's say. So started my career at Google in the ad business. And I think interesting thing there is that the post-sales team of Google is way larger than the pre-sales team because AdWords, Google Advertising Solution is so good, they don't really need to get sold. But once advertisers start, they need customer success and account management to really make sure customers see value, see ROI, and then grow those accounts. So got like a really early start in, hey, if we make customers successful, then they're going to spend more with us. So that's something that I always found super cool. If we can align business goals with customer goals, then growth will come automatically. And then joined a super early stage startup after that as a first employee called 24 Sessions, a SaaS startup. Did that for 6 years, and then we sold the business to MessageBird, now called Birds, a unicorn from the Netherlands. Spent 1.5 years there, seeing how customer success was run at a really scale-up company, and then rolled into freelancing and fractional CS roles. So a lot of different SaaS teams from the inside, and then that's where the idea for ImpactPilot, my current venture, came about.
All right, that's awesome. So, honest question. What is the difference between customer support and customer success?
Yeah, great question. So I think the easiest way to think about it is customer support is reactive. Customers come to you with a question because they don't understand something or they want information about something. So the question comes, you answer it in the best possible way, wherever channel that is. Customer success is you being proactive, you being on the front foot. So you're noticing something at the customer, a certain trigger, or you want to achieve a certain goal with your customer, and you reach out to the customer in whatever shape or form and make sure they achieve that goal. So it's you really being on the front foot, making sure that well ahead of a renewal, you're talking to them. And then when renewal time comes, you're sure that, hey, they're doing everything right because I kind of told them what to do with our solution, and then your attention is going to be much higher.
All right. So what's now your honest take? Do all SaaS companies absolutely have to have a customer success team?
Not all, right? So I think having a team or a kind of a customer success mindset, that you definitely need. A team, I don't know. I think it depends on a couple of factors. One, the nature of your product. If it's super simple, super self-explanatory, type PLG, low ticket size, maybe you don't need it. Still, you can do a lot with tech touch. But if you're going into more complex solutions, mid-market, upper mid-market, enterprise, typically where change management is needed, so where the customer needs to change their behavior or a team needs to change their behavior to get the most value from your solution, yeah, then customer success becomes instrumental, I think.
Okay. So what I guess we now excluded the the companies that you're not working with. So yeah, what's your ICP? Who benefits the most from ImpactPilot?
Yeah. So our ICP are B2B SaaS companies with customer success teams more than 3 people and who work in HubSpot. with HubSpot as their CRM.
Yeah. All right. So that's one question that I'm honestly very interested in, because when we're talking about customer success tools, and we also, as a SaaS group, we own one of them. It's a standalone product most of the time, right? You guys are in HubSpot, and the way you work is you actually want people to kind of think that they're still in HubSpot, like it's one thing.
Yeah.
Why that strategy?
Yeah, multiple reasons. First one again came, I think, probably the origin story is like deep personal frustration from at 21st Sessions when I bought a CSP. At one point, we were 6, 7 CSMs. We were doing a couple of million ARR. And then CEO told, hey, it's time to get your processes in order. And processes meant tools. So I went CSP shopping. So all the big vendors, and the demos looked great. The technology was great. In the end, we ended up signing with Planhead. And I still admire Planet as a company, what they do for the CS community. But what I, in practice, just didn't like is that now next to our CRM, which was HubSpot, our own little CS team had to maintain the second CRM, which was actually more complex than HubSpot, which we already had. And a lot of things were actually duplicate. So we had companies and contacts in both systems, with deal pipelines in both systems. We worked with AMs who report into sales. So where did they have to work? I've built these beautiful dashboards in Planet, but my CEO never logged in, so I still had to send him screenshots. So that was just like practically annoying. Then when I started freelancing, I noticed I was not the only one having this problem. So a lot of teams that bought a CSP were actually looking at, it was kind of like a ghost town in there, right? Stale data, annual updates, and a lot of doing duplicate work in a CRM. And then, yeah, of course, AI happens, and the need for unified data became even more prominent, right? So if you don't have your data in one place, your customer data, it's going to be hard to leverage AI. And that's when it kind of clicked. I said, okay, well, let's use HubSpot. It's like a data bucket for all your customer data. It's probably already like 60% full. Like, why would you buy a new platform, like a new empty data bucket, start filling that in onboarding? You're going to spend 3 months just filling that empty bucket, or we build on top of the bucket that's already full, make implementation time a lot shorter. And also for the CSMs, as you said, they don't really notice that they're using ImpactPilot. For them, they're using just a new HubSpot feature. So they can stay working in a tool they're already used to. So for us, adoption is also a lot easier to drive in. So yeah, kind of all these factors came into play, launched it, and got a lot of positive reaction on that.
That's awesome. I wonder, because you're, based on HubSpot, what kind of, disadvantages does it entail? Because then you're tied to this one platform. And if it changes, I guess you guys have to change too. So, for founders who are thinking, all right, that's actually a brilliant idea, and I think it is. We do want all the data. You probably saw that meme. Who are we, marketers? And we want all our dashboards to look the same. Yeah. Yes, I guess it's for everybody who looks at dashboards. So yeah, for everyone who's thinking that, okay, this is probably a path to take, what are the implications?
Yeah. So I mean, by default, you narrow your ICP, right? So anyone on Salesforce, anyone at Yo, anyone on Dynamics, we just say, well, we can't serve you at the moment. So that's the first implication. That's pretty clear. And of course, and this is what a lot of people ask us, isn't it a big risk being so dependent on HubSpot? What if they build exactly the same features? What if they cut you off? And I always think, okay, I'd rather be inside HubSpot than outside, because if you're a CSP, an external vendor, and they still start building your features, it's the same thing, right? So that, like, I always think, well, competition is not something that scares us, and we really try to be complementary towards HubSpot. So we have a good relationship with the HubSpot service team. So we talk about, hey, yeah, what's your direction and where can we really strategically add there? So I'll give you an example. 3 months after we launched ImpactPilot, HubSpot announced their customer success workspace. And I thought, I don't know if I can swear, but that's what I thought. A lot of swear words.
You can a little
uh,
bit.
okay. We're doomed, right? So, but then what we did in 1 week, we made sure that we actually were part of that CS workspace. And it actually turns out that now a lot of SaaS teams were taking HubSpot much more serious as a serious option to move their post-sales motion in there. So we saw a lot of customers churning for of their CSPs into HubSpot and then using the CS workspace together with ImpactPilot. So it's actually been a huge driver for us that HubSpot is now also investing in the post-sales side of things.
Okay, but so that said, why HubSpot? Why not Salesforce
Yeah,
or anything else?
yeah, yeah. So our ICP, when we did research, we were kind of like, let's say, Series B, SaaS, B2B SaaS up to Series B. Did some market research and saw that more than 70% of those companies are actually on HubSpot. So yeah, it was a pretty obvious choice at the time. That being said, it's like our vision is not customer success in HubSpot. Our vision is integrated customer success. So the GTM teams work from one solution. So we don't have any concrete plans at the moment, but within our vision, there's definitely room to expand to other CRMs as well. The only thing we will never do is build a standalone CS tool because, I don't think that's good for anyone. Not good for the company having a data silo. Also, not good for the team. If you want to be a customer centric company, your customer data should be front and center for everyone to see. If a marketer wants to see, hey, who are our most successful customers, they should be able to check that in HubSpot. If sales want to see, hey, that customer that I sold 6 months ago, how are they doing? They should just be able to check that in a tool where they already work. And we actually like send a bunch of notifications with our agents, not only to the CSMs but also to these other GTM teams to make sure that the customer is truly at the center of that SaaS company.
All right, that makes sense. Okay, so tell me a little bit about, your growth journey, because as far as I know, you started bootstrapped, but then you decided to raise a little bit. And I mean,
Yeah.
it's not a huge round. And honestly, I admire that. I heard somehow lately I've been hearing stories of people pre-profit, pre-revenue, trying to raise obscene amounts of money, obscene valuations. And I always wonder why. Like, what is it? The number? Is it vanity? Like, what is it? This dopamine that you really, really want?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so you decided to go a bit of a different route. So, first of all, why? What what
Yeah.
what was the mindset shift?
Yeah. So Konstantin, my co-founder, and I were really thought, hey, we're going to build inside of HubSpot. It's going to be this lean, small product, and we're going to maintain it with the two of us, and we're going to bootstrap this all the way. Turned out, customer success, it's just a complex. It's just a complex field with a lot of different processes you need to support. So the product grew pretty quickly to something pretty powerful, but also we noticed that in GTM, I was doing sales, CS, marketing, and Konstantin was doing all the product stuff. And I think we got to our first couple of customers we got while I was still doing fractional CS work. We got a couple of beta customers in that kind of picked up pretty quickly. And then 1 year in, I noticed two things. One, we doubled revenue in a couple of months. So okay, like we really saw there was something there. There was traction. But also I was working every day until like 11 at night, and I wasn't happy with my output anymore because I felt like I was falling short in sales. I felt like I was falling short in marketing, and I felt like I was falling short in CS. So I wasn't really happy with the quality of work anymore, just because it was too stretched. And then also it is fun to build with a team and with smart people. So talk to a bunch of people, and then in the end, they convinced me, why don't you do like a small angel round where you keep a lot of control, but you get some breathing room to build the team. So that's what we did. We raised 500K from one fund and a bunch of angel investors that are super well connected in our market and are already helping us. So that's kind of what shifted, and we're now using it to hire a marketeer, head of marketing, a CSM, of course, and to expand our development team.
one of your managers said that they want you to start this customer success thing motion. And you said customer success meant a tool, not a process. And I want you to expand on this a little bit because, like you said, maybe not every company needs a customer success motion really in place, but to have a customer success mindset, I think it's still important because you want people to succeed. You want people to stick with you, right? Churn is never fun.
Actionable hyphen.
Yes. So yeah, some actionable steps for SaaS founders to take to, to start this, to get this going, like how to begin with customer success within the company.
Yeah. And maybe before diving into that, just to kind of stress the importance, I think, like even if you're a bootstrap founder or a founder looking to raise, the number, of course, investors are interested in growth, number one, like what's been your growth trajectory, but the follow-up question from every single investor, what's your retention, right? So if you're growing a lot, but you're churning everything out back door, then you're not really growing. And I think as a founder, at least for me, and I know some founders who don't have it, but most founders I think have it. Like churn also feels personal. It's like you built this baby, you convince someone, and then people want to churn off it. So it's just a terrible thing at the emotional level as well. So I think like practical as a founder, as a young team, I think it starts with, I think, how can I get my customers see value from the product? Like my most successful customers, what are they doing to see value from my product? And how can I replicate that across different customers? So I'll give you an example I'll give you maybe two examples. So now for ImpactPilot, for example, we show leading indicators for customer success managers. So we show, hey, if you do X, Y, Z on your customers, for example, if you can implement an API, if you can make sure you get C-level executives joining your QBRs, then we see higher retention. And you can actually you can incentivize your team on if they can achieve those milestones. And customers who put those incentives in the bonus structure, for us, they see a lot more value because the team is like, it means, hey, if I do these things, I'm going to get paid on it. So they're executing really on these things. That way, retention is going up and like we're stuck in the bonus. So we're super sticky. So what we're trying to do is so we're seeing, okay, our most successful customers, they put ImpactPilot in their bonus structure. So we have a list of customers where that's not the case. And then every time we talk to them and we see, hey, this could be a solution to drive adoption, we mention this. So we're not saying, we're not talking about adoption. We're not talking about different metrics. We're just talking about concrete tactics on how they can get more value. And we're tracking if they're doing that, yes or no. So that's one thing, how you can replicate it. A second example here was from 24 Sessions. There was a video chat company, so B2C video chat. So large banks were using our solution to talk with their end customers about mortgages and investments. But really thousands of users within a bank were using that. And we saw that our most successful customers, the bank manager was not, or the bank employee was not in control of which channel they were going to talk to the customer about. Because if they were in control, they would say, hey, just come to the office, or I'll drive to you, because they were used to their old way of working. Our most successful customers, they put a booking form on the website where the customer could choose, hey, I want to do the call via video chat. So then we had a list of customers, okay, who has a booking form on the website, who don't. And for all the customers who didn't, we were going to implement that. So I think that's really what it breaks down to, is understand what makes your customers successful, and then just ruthlessly repeat and try to implement it at all your customers.
Okay, so really we're talking about like proactively going after, every customer who still doesn't know maybe to what extent they can use you or how else they can get value from you.
Yeah.
All right. Do you use AI for customer success?
Yeah, I mean, all the time. Like our tool is full of AI, right? So I think the biggest thing for AI, I think the biggest concrete use case for customer success in AI is is risk and opportunity detection, because now all the communication, but also all the other data that you gather about your customer, for example, how they're using the product, the number of tickets they sent, if you have that all in one place, yeah, you can have agents sift through all that data and send you notifications. So for example, hey, this customer is talking about bugs in your product very frequently, do something about it. Or this customer's adoption is dropping versus the same period last month, and their contract end date is nearing. So perhaps good to schedule a re-onboarding workshop there. So yeah, the time where a CSM had to go into multiple different systems and kind of figure out, oh, what do I need to do next? That's what AI can now do way better than CSMs ever will.
Okay. I just wonder, because obviously AI is wildly and widely used in customer support, right? And we always are afraid, like, okay, it's going to hallucinate, it's going to, I don't know,
Yeah.
call a person a different name. I mean, that's just the best case scenario. Or, do something stupid if you don't have some guardrails there. So I wonder, how you steer AI in this,
Mhm.
and what AI can actually do. Like, where do you draw the line
Yeah,
with AI and customer success?
good question. So at the moment, like, yeah, you hit it spot on, right? Like, you're talking about your customers. So it's not like, with an AI SDR, if they send a weird message to your prospect, it's embarrassing, but it's they're not someone you're doing business with. So how I currently look at it, and it's particularly, and I'm now talking for mid-market enterprise. So if you're really like focusing long tail customers, then it might be different. But at least for those customers you have a personal relationship with, I don't think AI is there where you want to automate communications with your customers. So what we're saying is we're serving these signals to the CSM to make it easy for them to undertake to see, okay, what do I need to do next? But that interaction moment is still a human interaction moment, and of course we help with like drafting emails, etc. But the customers still press, our customers, the users still press send. And yeah, I like it's something that I think it's definitely moving towards. That for some processes you will interact with an AI, but maybe the AI is there yet, but in a lot of cases the data is not there yet. So there's still data gaps in a CRM or in a data lake, and then the AI doesn't have a full picture, and then yeah, it won't be as accurate as it can be.
Yeah,
That's just a
absolutely.
practical problem. Yeah.
Okay. So because, I was talking to a founder of a customer support tool.
Mm-hmm.
And what he said is basically something pretty basic can be AI. And then the way they see it is the more complicated it gets, the more, like you said, there are missing pieces in
Yeah.
AI data, the more it's prone, and the way it's developed, that's how it works. It just outsources it. AI
Yeah.
outsources it to a
Yeah.
person.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And that's also, I think, how we're thinking about it. It's like that you also have kind of a human in the loop. We are working more and more where you have flows where you can just like automate campaigns towards customers. But at the moment, there's always still a manual check for the CSM to say, hey, what's this email look like that's going to be sent to my customer? What's this voicemail look like? How will it sound if it's sent to my customer? At, will we at one point be able to fully automate it? Perhaps. Our customers definitely want to, some of them. But I think at the moment, that's just not where it is yet. And also, I think here, the differentiation between customer support and customer success, I think in support, the use case for AI is even much more obvious, right? Because the customer is coming to you, they want something from you, they want an answer. In CS, you kind of want something from the customer, right? You want them to change their behavior, you want them to implement a new feature. So it's not only giving information, it's also convincing someone, right? It's almost doing sales, but you're not selling the product because you've already done that, but you're selling a new way of working. And yeah, that convincing, that's just something that people can do way better than AI still at the moment. That being said, for example, like we ran an internal beta test where our product release notes were delivered via a voice bot. So our customers got a call, say, "Hey, we released yesterday. These are the 3 features based on our previous conversations. I think this is the most relevant for you," and they could have a conversation with that bot. So
Interesting.
yeah, so that's something I think that we can do. Like, but it's just like just giving information about new features. It's not about, hey, hey Anna, put ImpactPilot, change your entire bonus structure and put ImpactPilot in it. That's just something that's that's more difficult to achieve.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So, I mean, pretty surprised, to be honest, that you said that a lot of your customers want this to be AI. I mean, it's my favorite topic lately in the last couple of, I don't know, weeks, months. Is I think a lot of people want AI because we were sold the idea that it makes things better and it saves time. Like I was given a presentation about this automation workflow that I created, and the first question I got from my colleagues is, "How much time does it save you?" And they're like, "Probably zero. Like it doesn't save me anything."
Yeah.
But it gets the ball rolling.
Yeah.
It makes me think in a different direction, and makes sure that I don't forget stuff. But it doesn't save me time. It keeps me focused on the
Yeah.
task, like go work.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so yeah, and that's why I'm like, okay, people want AI. Why? Like,
Yeah.
what's the thought behind it?
Yeah. Well, I think time saving is indeed is yeah is it's like kind of the classic one. But if you make a business case on time saved, it always sucks, because like what are you going to do with the time, right? You're not going to fire probably people. So I think it's about doing more and doing things better. So the example I gave, where for example, with release notes, like if you send an email, we have about like I think 60%, 80% open our emails, 60% actually click on the videos to see it. But then if you could reach out to those other 40 that are maybe on WhatsApp and have a quick conversation with a voice bot, your release notes are going to get a lot more attention. So does it save time? No, but you're getting better end results, right? So I think there's a lot more gain there versus just saving time.
So another question that I wanted to ask you is, you're working with this mid-market, and I feel like a lot of B2B founders want to go there like right away. They don't want to sell $9 per seat or per tool or whatever. They want to go mid-market. It's a good place to be. But, I wonder what gets the ball rolling there. Like how did you get the first customer, and what works in terms of growth?
Yeah, good question. So my background is enterprise. So for us, mid-market was already
Step down.
a step down. It's not down, right? It's just different. And I think we're learning a lot on how to serve mid-market. It's definitely different than enterprise. But I think the honest question is like, how do we get our first customers? Was, since I was doing fractional work at a pretty big network within SaaS, I spoke to, like, when I had this idea for ImpactPilot, I think I spoke to over like 70 people getting feedback. And then when we had a working prototype, which was really like a beta thing, I just reached out to a couple, got 3 beta customers. I said, hey, you can use it for free for 6 months in return for feedback. And then afterwards, you get the chance to sign up. So we worked with those 3 customers super intensely with the team, like spent like a lot of time just learning how the team was using it, like what were they missing, what weren't they using, and then from there we built it. So I think long story short is, just find a couple of customers that you go super deep with and almost offer it like a consultancy track. At least that worked for us. And then in terms of growth, so for us at the moment, we've never did any marketing campaigns so far yet. So we're now at 30 customers, but that was also something that we need to change. So We've invested a lot in communities. So we're a big part of customer success communities, attending events, doing online webinars, stuff like that. So we got a lot of leads from there. And then also the HubSpot community has been a great lead source for us. And being active on LinkedIn is where we get a lot of our leads. But yeah, now we have a head of growth joining soon. And yeah, this is now something we really need to get consistent, because now, in all honesty, it was like, oh, damn, pipeline's getting empty. I'm focusing on lead gen for a week, and then pipeline kind of fills up, and then I work that pipe. But now, of course, we need to get into a more consistent flow.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people argue like whether or not they should be on LinkedIn. And yeah, you said that being active there works for you. What does it mean being active?
Yeah, so it means two things, and I think it doesn't work for everybody, right? But our ICP is very active on LinkedIn. So the CS, there's a big active CS community on LinkedIn, and also like RevOps and just like sales, very active. So our audience is there, and we do two things. So one is just posting, try to really make an effort to post interesting stuff for the community and get debates, and then also try to be to comment and be active on other people's posts. So that's one pillar. And the second pillar is just build your network. So see who liked your posts, reach out to them, connect with them, reach out to them, and start a conversation there. So there's like a lot of async conversations going on LinkedIn. Like my inbox is complete chaos. But yeah, those are kind of the two things. So like, I think, like broadcasting with posts and being active, and then making connections so you grow your network, and it kind of snowballs. And I think right now about 50% of our leads comes from LinkedIn somewhere form.
Wow, that's interesting. So LinkedIn works for you. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's been always debated like, okay, do we do that, or is it a distraction? Or, it's good at the early stages to kind of build your persona
Yeah.
and build the brand. Then you kind of go into something a bit more serious. I mean, honestly, my experience says that you just have to be there. Like you said, you just have to be there, and at some point, asynchronously, something will happen because
Yeah.
people just need to remember you. I don't know,
Yeah.
7 touches or 17,000 touches, it doesn't matter. But at some
Yeah.
point when they're ready and you are there, it can absolutely happen. So I think
Yeah.
social media is a good thing for B2B still.
Yeah, and I mean, we also, and I wasn't consistent, but we also did Reddit for a while, and then when just being super active in a couple of groups, subreddits, and then also people just saw our posts there, and then ended up booking demos. There's a community forum on HubSpot where also the community asks questions about certain solutions. When it's about CS, we try to answer them as well. So yeah, that's so far, but it's pretty, as I said, it's like when the pipe is empty, I go after it, and now we're like really, we'll build a more consistent flow so that the pipe always stays full and we keep growing consistently.
I can't not ask, but what are you doing to rank on ChatGPT?
Well, yeah, good question. At the moment, zero. Like, our website is terrible. It's when our head of growth starts, is the first project.
Okay.
Well, two projects, like website and customer case studies. Like, we have a bunch of great results with customers, but we've never captured them. So getting that ROI proven and showcasing it, those are the two things we're going to work on first.
All right. Okay. Let's see how it goes. Maybe you'll
Yeah.
share the learnings
Yeah.
later. But,
Yeah.
I also wanted to ask you, because it's something we discussed with you even before the podcast. It's how to build your customer success team. And you said that the way you've seen it work in different companies is that, the kind of the first person that worked on customer success becomes the customer success manager, and then the later kind of builds the team, and it's not always the best case scenario. I wonder why, and how to actually make it one.
Yeah. Yes, that's a classic mistake, where if as a founder or as a revenue leader, at one point you say, oh damn, we're getting Like we need customer success because we like the number of renewals is just getting out of hand. Someone needs to manage them, or we need implementation or onboarding. Usually it's like a concrete problem like that starts to hurt, and then someone is being put in place to do that. And the thing with the first CSM, they're almost always great because there was nothing before. So, right? So all of a sudden, oh, customers get talked to and they all love that person, right? Because they're so nice and so friendly. But being CS is not about being friendly or nice. It's about customers want to be told what to do. Like, I don't want to get, like, I buy your product. You know how to implement it. Just tell me, right? Just tell me how I can be successful with your products. And then sometimes that means disagreeing with your customer. Sometimes it means, being firm with your customer, holding them accountable in a respectful, nice, and of course you can have fun and be friendly and all that stuff. But just saying yes, like you need to lead your customer doesn't need to lead you. That's kind of, and I think that's where a lot of particularly junior people that don't have coaching in a young startup, they get that wrong. But from the outside, it looks, hey, that person is doing a great job because customers are now happy. We're seeing some reduction in churn because there was nothing before, and now there's someone. That person is doing great. They must be a CS superstar. We need more people. Let's make that person the manager and let them hire a team. And that's why you get like a lot of first-time CS leaders that are not enabled, not supported, and that build very mediocre teams. That's just a fact. So I think to kind of how do you avoid that? I think it's really looking at, okay, what skill set do we need in our CS team, not for our super imminent pain, but for our longer term vision. So for example, we're now hiring for a CSM. We're doing basically our CS strategy at the moment is like enterprise strategy on mid-market. So it's absolutely not sustainable, right? So I'm talking to our customers just because I love it. I love talking to customers. I love how to see how they use our product and to learn from it. But it's absolutely not scalable and sustainable. So we're hiring not for a second Peter. We're hiring for someone who really knows how to scale this, who can build great documentation, who can build great campaigns, which of course like can have human touch points along the way. But we're looking for someone who can scale this to 100, 150 customers. So it's a different type of profile than myself. So I think it starts with that. So how is our CS strategy going to look like? And that depends on your ACV, it depends on your product. Is it technical, yes or no? Does it, like, do you need a separate onboarding team? If it's super technical in the beginning, you might have need a separate onboarding team. So just thinking about that first, and then hiring for that. And then second is your first hire doesn't need to be your leader, right? So also don't make that promise. So a lot of like first CSMs, founding CSMs, they get hired with the promise or the implicit promise that they're going to be able to build the team. If you're hiring like a seasoned leader who's kind of taken a step back into being a first CSM, yes, you can make that promise if you believe that person will do it. If you're hiring a junior person, don't make that promise, right? So say, hey, you're going to step in now. Let's see how it goes. Probably we'll hire someone as the team grows to kind of build structure and process around it.
Okay. All right. So you need to figure it out first and then get someone who will build the processes before more junior people can join and be nice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think as a founder or as a revenue leader, maybe final thing, just the first couple of customers, you need to handle them yourself, right? So you need to know, like, if you don't know what works, like how to make your customers successful, if you don't know that yet, it's too early for you to hire a CS person, right? So I think it's you want to send that person off to a mission and say, hey, try to execute these 4 or 5 things with our customers. If you do that, we have a 90% sure that we're going to retain that customer. And if you can't name those things, you need to figure them out first.
Okay, that's a great advice. All right, so I just have a couple more questions for you. So first one is, over this journey, bootstrapping, hiring, getting funding, what has been the biggest win and the biggest failure?
Yeah, so I think let's start with the win. So I think, with the risk of sounding cheesy, but the biggest win is if I see and if I get told by customers that they get value from our product. that's just, yeah, that's so great. Like sometimes, so we detect insights on our customers. Often 30 minutes after implementation, we already spot super interesting things that they didn't know about, specific risks that exist or specific opportunities. And like we install ImpactPilot and they see it kind of appearing on their screen. And then, oh man, like all of a sudden I can drill down on my customer and see, hey, who has an adoption risk, who has mentioned competitors, where are we not, like who's 90 days away from their renewal, but we haven't started the renewal conversation yet. Like boom, all of a sudden that's at their fingertips, and that's such a great moment. And then also, like, I don't know, there's different value modes. So that's really, yeah, the biggest win for me. And also interesting that on the, just you mentioned before, like, about raising funding, that's so celebrated, right? So like big rounds, and to me, like yes, I mean, it's a certain type of validation, but I think the biggest validation you get is like customers using your product. You can convince investors. They don't really they don't really know your business. Well, they know it, but they don't know it as well as your customers do. So if your customers get value, that's like the most important thing. Then the biggest challenge. The biggest challenge. There's so many challenges. I think our biggest challenge is repeatability in our lead funnel. So as I said, it's really something that I kind of naively thought that like we'll go into the market and like we'll just get like shitloads of inbound leads. That's not the case, right? So like I notice when I don't actively work on outbounding or like lead gen, it's not the right, like it's not classic outbounding, but then leads don't come. So there's been like all of a sudden there were, for example, a week where like 3 weeks where we didn't get one demo. Yeah, I was like, what happened? So and yeah, those are kind of scary moments, right? In the beginning. So I think that's like finding consistency there. That's been the biggest challenge.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. You're still early
Yeah.
in your journey. So, figuring out where to go, where to find your customers, I think it's challenging, but it's also a lot of fun, right? Like
Yeah.
when you mentioned Reddit, I was like, interesting. I wouldn't probably, knowing what you're doing, I probably wouldn't go to Reddit for lead gen. I would go there for like to make sure that ChatGPT quotes,
Yeah.
the me and ranks me, but I wouldn't treat it as a lead gen source. But anyway, that's just me. And yeah, I mean, the last question is about a hack. And if there is anything that you use, it can be something personal that helps you through the journey, or it can be something that founders can use for CS. Anything that you think others will benefit from, and
Yeah.
you can share.
So I think it's a big hack, and I think anyone can apply it. You can scale it, or you can do it at super small scale. But it's communicating to your customers how successful they are. So if you notice that your customer is reaching their goals, tell them. Say, hey, we've been talking about like you purchased this for. You told me in the beginning that you wanted to increase retention. You just told me that you saved 2 customers. That's awesome that we can bring this to life together. So I think it's reminding customers, kind of congratulating them on their own achievements, but with your solution, right? So it's kind of one, showing them, hey, you're actually doing, like you made great progress on the goal you want to set out, but also making sure they attribute that success to your solution. And you can do that in many, like you can do that in a conversation, but you can also just send like a quick email, make sure the decision maker is in CC, or you can even scale it, right? So like if a certain milestone is hit or like a number is hit, you just like send an automated email or WhatsApp or whatever. But I think that's super important. Just no one's going to celebrate your success. So you better do it yourself.
Awesome. I love this one. Honestly, I think, yeah, I mean, if you think about it, it's a no-brainer, but not a lot of people, not a lot of companies do that. So that's a pretty cool one. Thanks for sharing.
Cool.
And yeah, thanks for the conversation. I mean, it's so
Thank you.
interesting. I love when it's founders of a little bit of an earlier stage when, you're still kind of figuring it out and it's all exciting and, there are a lot of experiments. So yeah, I'm really interested to see where you're going and where you'll be in 1 year. I'm gonna track your your ranking on ChatGPT. Just like
Start doing that from the 1st of March.
yes. So good luck with that.
We're now probably below 0.
Well, there's growth opportunity there.
Definitely.
But yeah, thanks so much and take care.
Thanks, Anna.
Awesome. Thanks for listening. SaaS.unbound is brought to you by SaaS Group. We're a long-term home for great B2B SaaS. We buy, keep the team and brand DNA, and help with the boring stuff like hiring and finance so founders can truly focus on building great products. If you're a founder who'd like to be featured or explore an acquisition, reach out through the form on our website or email me at anna@saas.group.